Views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Good morning this morning and welcome back to Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, your station for fresh news, smart talk all day. It is Wednesday the 10th of December 2025 and you're on the clock with Ann Bonnie Greene. That's right. Today, I feel like I'm the most Bahamian I've ever felt in a long time, which is why I decided to call myself Ann Bonnie Greene. You know, before we were a tourist town, we were a pirate town. And all our habits are hard to get rid of. They're hard to kick, you know? I have a feeling that more and more of us are becoming pirates every day, returning back to who we were. See, when they say pirates expelled, commerce restored, it's always important to remember that the commerce that they were restoring is the enslavement of Africans and capitalizing, right? The business of capitalizing on the labor of people who you don't have to recognize as people. So you don't have to treat them as people. It's a Wednesday. That means it's a man down, mash up Wednesday. Mr. Nuri is in studio joining me, Guardian Radio AM. Good morning.
Good morning this morning. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Just a couple of little housekeeping notes before we get into the headlines and the open line. We're doing headlines and open line today, right? Mm-hmm. All right, so 16 days of activism against gender-based violence ends today, December 10th. Today is Human Rights Day, and what a wonderful day it is. Equality Bahamas will be hosting the last session of the 16 Days of Activism calendar. It is Reclaiming Human Rights with Gaynell Curry. It's going to be tonight, 6 p.m. at NAGB. Gaynell Curry has worked in the UN system for a number of years. She's I think, permanent independent member of the Council on Race and the descent of people of African descent. And we are grateful to have her back in the Bahamas lecturing at the university in the law program. She'll be speaking tonight. It's an in-person event at the National Art Gallery of the Bahamas starting at 6 p.m. I'm excited about that. Last night there was a great conversation, Reclaiming Your Health with Dr. Indira Martin. And if you're interested in that conversation, you can find the recording on Equality Bahamas' Facebook page and Instagram page. And you can find her most recent contribution to the most recent Future of Democracy 4 conference on the Future of Democracy conference page on Facebook. Morning, Mr. Nuri.
Good morning.
There's lots to talk about today. I've got stories from the week. Of course, I guess one of the main stories is House passes migrant bill immunity clause removed. The Part 11 or Section 11 was removed from the bill before it was passed. Was that Tuesday? Monday night going into Tuesday?
Yes, Monday night going into Tuesday.
Absolutely. And I found some other articles. Here's one I found interesting. Mitchell wants visa treaty with U.S.
I smell at that.
And I wonder why. I mean, we know why, right? Mm-hmm. We're part of a visa program with the U.S. We also have a program where if your police record is clean, you can attempt to enter the U.S., right, with a clean police record. Of course, it's up to the discretion of Border Control whether they're going to accept that, accept entry, right, allow you to enter the country. But the problem is, I guess, for Bahamians, re-entering the U.S. from a third jurisdiction, mm-hmm. right, and that can become problematic. That can become problematic. It has for me. I once spent about 3 hours between border control and immigration and customs, trying to, get through the system to get on my connecting flight back home to the Bahamas. But for me, the question is, why? Well, more importantly, what would we put on the table, right? What are we offering? What are we negotiating? What is the reason why you want visa-free travel for Bahamians to the U.S.?
In contrast to other countries?
Well, no, extended beyond what exists now, right? Because we got pre-clearance, which makes it easy to enter, right? We have a visa program that is it's relatively easy to get a U.S. visa. The only problem is returning to the U.S. from a third jurisdiction in terms of visa and movement in and out of the states. So what is it? What's the rationale?
The benefit of being a good neighbor.
Okay, bang. So what qualifies as being a good neighbor? Like, what did we put on the piece of paper to list all to say, okay, we think that this should be the benefit of being a good neighbor. Here's the list of things that constitute or describe a good neighbor. What you think those things are? Right? Like, for me, what is it? Like, what is the purpose of this conversation? Why do you need to extend it beyond what exists now? And then understanding the, I don't want to say transactional nature of intra-government relationships, what are you prepared to offer, right, for the expansion of their policy? What's on the table? And if it is the benefits of being a good neighbor, then
Pet to nature swap. They're saying excitable things during excitable times. That's a good reason for getting the visa exempted, eh?
I mean, yeah, if you're gonna swap this nature for the politicians' debt, then yeah, I think that Bahamians, not politicians, but Bahamians, ordinary people, could, because that's a big deal. Because it's a lot of debt. You know how much nature is going to take? You know how many cookouts you have to save a life? Anyway, I just want to know what the why, and then what are you going to offer in exchange for this expansion of policy? If I could read through the article, Mr. Mitchell said he has proposed that the United States and the Bahamas consider the implementation of a formal visa-free travel treaty between the two countries. He said the issue has come to the forefront amid an intensifying immigration crackdown in the U.S., with President Donald Trump recently vowing to ban migration from all, quote, third world countries, close quotes, right? But we're not a third world country.
We're not?
No.
Well, we're not.
Because third world
no longer exists.
But not just that, right? Third world is a construct for a particular political moment.
Yes.
Third world defines the countries that fall outside of the Cold War axis.
Yes.
There was the good side, and then they say the Russians are the bad side.
Or pre-Cold War, because this is World War II we're talking about. The Axis versus the United Front. First world would have been
They're going to say U.S. and the
US
global
and
north.
UK and the global north, and the second world would have been the
Russia and
Russia would be World War One. Because Russia would have been a part of the United Front.
I see, right, linking it to the wars,
Yes.
right? But I thought third world country came out of Cold War rhetoric, right? With the United States and the Russia. You remember when he said, Gorbachev, tear down that wall.
Yes, but it was used before then. That's what I'm trying to say. We would have been first world because we would have been a part of the UK inside of the war front in World War II. Because Bahamas was an independent country, so we would have been considered that.
And the colonies would have been referred to
Yes.
as well as a part of the whole package.
Yes, it would be in first world. So third world would be those people, like you said, not included in that World War III,
Dynamic.
World War II dynamic.
Yeah.
And then you add in the Cold War after that. But the term was pre-Cold War
Yeah. When they start talking about developing countries, that's when I get concerned.
So now we're a developing country.
That's what we are.
Yes, we are a developing country.
Yeah.
But then China's a developing country also.
No,
Yes.
not in the description.
If you see, but see, China's huge, and we gotta understand. Even though they're development, the majority of their country is underdeveloped, despite their huge development. So they can be considered as a development.
Same thing with the U.S.
Well, yeah.
Right? Like there's so much swaths of land. Here's a text, Mr. Neri.
Go ahead.
It just says, I always want to know who's the most sarcastic radio host on Guardian. Is it Erin Greene? Is it C.A. Neri? Or the host from the Eye Opener on Saturday morning? You guys are all entertaining. But I tell you what, we ain't voting for who's the most sarcastic. But starting this week, Neri, I'm going to do top stories of the year.
Okay.
Because once Christmas, once we get closer and closer to Christmas, guests start rolling in, conversations start rolling in. I want to know what the audience thinks is the top story of the year. Now, Tex, we're gonna do an internal poll on the most sarcastic host. But top story of the year. So I just thought that was very interesting, right? Mr. Mitchell goes on to say, quote, I said to them particularly, since in the days of climate change and all these other climate emergencies, that if 400,000 of us moved to the States, it wouldn't make a difference in terms of impact on the population of the United States of America.
It all depends on where we move. If we all move to Miami.
Right, like what's the migration plan? How would people be distributed or dispersed across the continent, right? The continental...
I wanted to know what is the intent. And who is the message for? Is the message for the Bahamian people? Let us know that we should lobby. Is it to the United States, especially the new U.S. ambassador designate? Is that a message to him that he's listening? Say this is Bahamian politics, that we are suggesting that we should be considered for something. I'm not sure why this particular speech came up.
And then my thing is this. Next thing, looking at the local environment, right? And I saw you, sorry about that. Call back. Someone's blocking the phone line. This. Yeah, it's only 400,000 of us. What about everybody else? Right? See, before we were tourist town, we were pirate town. Are you, the government, is the state prepared to expend the energy required to operate an immigration system that may impress the United States sufficiently for them to consider this policy suggestion? Right? Is our immigration, producer, let's prep that line. We're coming to you right now, caller. Is our immigration protocol, the operation of our immigration systems, is it operating sufficiently to the point that would impress the U.S. and say this is a policy that we could take on?
Or is this a plea for a climate change refugee and putting in their heads that if the Bahamas needs to emigrate to a different country because of the climate change, we put in the United States on notice that they should consider us?
This is not the type of conversation to tiptoe around, right? Don't. This is not the time for passive aggressiveness. Let's go to the caller. Good morning, caller.
Good morning to both of you.
Good morning. Sorry about the wait.
No, man, that's fine. I enjoy listening to all of y'all. Listen, though, I think you are the most welcoming talk show host out of all, period.
Thank you. I got to talk to my fingers get itchy sometimes, but I'm working on it.
That's just how that is.
Yeah.
But the thing is, though, Mr. Mitchell is probably just doing that for us to believe or hear that he's trying to do something, because he really ain't do nothing. And I don't know. Tell me one foreign policy has he done? But don't answer that, because that can take too long to find one. But he could forget that one. Now, I was able to secure a visa from the Bahamas for a friend of mine. You got these beautiful girls in Somalia and Ethiopia just to come here to spend the Christmas holidays, but to get her to come through the United States here is impossible.
Yeah.
Right? The next impossible. But I feel as though he's just trying to make us believe he's doing something. But I would like to make a comment on what Mr. Pintard said about these undocumented individuals, or I don't know how he claimed it. But I think he is actually shooting himself in the foot by, because there are a lot of people here who call, or they call us daddy. That's the phrase that they use because, reports indicate that Caribbean countries, that group down there, they call everybody daddy. And
remember, because daddy signifies power relationship, and when they speak in, they letting the person know who they're speaking to, that I've humbled myself. I position myself properly in this dynamic. You the boss, and I's the right. You the chief, and I's the Indian. And so that's why they do it. But it's not nefarious. They're just trying to say, hey, listen, don't be afraid of me. Everything cool.
Okay. Well, you see, the thing is, though, the PLP seems to be embracing these people who call us daddy. And Mr. Pintard seemed to be saying that he's going to challenge the fact that he's going to try to reverse this migration or whatever the case may be of these individuals. And I don't know how many of them are here who could vote. And, because Haitians been here, they've been from the 1950s.
Long before that
is correct. And if I were in Mr. Pintard's position, I would choose to embrace that Haitian community rather than alienate myself in it, from it.
Yeah, but here's a question I would put to Mr. Pintard if that were my concern, right?
Mm-hmm.
The question I would put to him is, how do you intend to ensure that labor is available for the various local investment and foreign direct investment projects on the table and already beginning, right? Like the beginning of they've already begun the development. How does he intend on ensuring that we have sufficient labor in the country to satisfy both the foreign and local development, FDI development, large scale, and then to ensure that the rest, all the other labor positions are filled, right? Like with this, we vow to repeal the migrants law.
That's what it is, yes.
How do you intend on ensuring that we can satisfy both our labor needs and our legislative and immigration needs, national security needs?
But I believe that's two different issues. And I want us to hash that out as soon as the call is complete. And
I just have one more comment.
Go ahead.
All right.
Sources to me suggest that Mr. Pintard faces several challenges beyond his own record. The presence of the former prime minister, he could significantly split the F&M vote, and he seemed to be in a position where, look, boy, if I can't get in there, if I can't be prime minister, I can cut the whole thing in half.
I don't see that, but go ahead.
Well, yeah, you can let me have an opinion, and then I can break off running. Maybe one day I'll buy the show, and then I can talk for the whole show.
No, come on, go ahead.
Yeah, but he also has to face the fact that the potential lifting of the biometric fingerprint requirements is another factor he needs to consider because he don't know what's lurking in the dark. And then now, if he has a low voter turnout, that could also work against him. So he should try to be embracing the possible 70,000 persons who are here, and I'd say 80% of them could vote. And I don't know if he's just too young to know that you should. It's not our differences that unite us; it's our uniqueness and our likeness. He should be trying to be more of chemistry than conflict. I think he's just too young to see that far. That's all.
Okay,
I appreciate that. All right, so Ms. Newry, I know a caller. We coming to you in a second. Let's prep the next caller. I know that the two issues, right? Like they seem like separate issues.
Two separate issues,
right? But the point is to make Mr. Pintard speak to the implications of your policy decisions. Have you thought them through? Do you have plans? Because you get up and say we vow to deal with migrants, right?
No, illegal migrants, because it's not migrants.
Bang, we vow to deal with illegal migrants.
Yes.
But it's nothing wrong with saying we vow to deal with migrants because that may include creating a proper system of registering migrants, right? Or just shifting the culture where we label all migrants as migrants and not some migrants as expats.
He needs to say that, but he didn't say that. But I understand.
But that's the point I'm saying, that he needs to say, these are the things that he needs to say. And if I were questioning a Pintard, if I wanted to get a good sense of what his personal, professional, as leader of the opposition, and what his party's position is, there are a whole bunch of other questions that I would be asking to line that up.
And even though I see where you're coming from, my first question to Mr. Pinta would be, does he believe we have an immigration problem, which he said he does? Is there any laws on the books that deals with smugglers, particularly those who are in Haiti, who orchestrate, not the people who are on the boat, no, not the captain, because I say the captain is being used. Those who are in Haiti who's orchestrating, those who are in the Bahamas who is orchestrating, who we have never arrested, but we appreciate that there's there's information about them orchestrating the whole thing. I'm not sure if there's any law that exists for them.
I don't want to take away the value of what you just said, but I'm going to say I don't even think they're considering that. I think that this is just pure political conjecture. No, I don't. Right, like all of those questions. I don't think this is
about that.
Yeah, and those are great questions, and we're going to get to them in a second. Absolutely, because I think those are the questions that should be asked. But I don't think this vowing to repeal migrants' law, I don't...
So that's why I asked the question.
It's just reflexive.
Let's say he plans to repeal it, which is cool.
Yeah.
Is there still a problem with smugglers? And what does he plan to do to deal with those particular people?
We can get to that in a second. Let's go to the caller. Good morning, caller.
Erin.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Nuri.
Good morning.
This position that you're referring to as Pinta's position, that's basically the FNM's position to repeal this migrants' law, right? When we look at it, there are persons in this country that are here that have not entered this country illegally, that may be of Haitian descent, that may be entitled to citizenship, and that does not refer to them. No. Do you all agree?
Yes.
Okay. So the trespassers, because if I hop the back fence and I happen to end up in Johnson Terrace, I may be in your constituency, right, Erin?
Mm-hmm.
And if I in the neighbor yard, and I'm trespassing. You see what I'm saying? So it's about the trespassers or anybody that enters this country legally, and they're giving these rights to. But I want to chime in on why did they remove Section 11? And they are intelligent people, king's consuls and queen's consuls, and all those learned persons who put that bill together. Why couldn't they have consulted with the opposition and tweaked that? And there are still issues that are royal opposition.
Because we have a system. The system, according to bills, the system is that we have drafters who create the bill itself. It's presented to cabinet. Cabinet then go over it, and then it is then delivered to the House of Assembly. When it's delivered to the House of Assembly, the opposition gets a copy of the bill. Their job. Hold on. Their job. October 15th. October 15th. October 15th.
October 15th.
And
that was time for them to communicate between each other.
That's my point.
And the government.
That's my point now.
And consult with each other.
Hold on. 1 minute, caller. On October 15th to now, the opposition's job and the public, because it's given to the opposition, the media, and the public. Everyone got the bill at the same time on October 15th. It was their job to consult the government, to challenge the government, to give alternative to the government, to put in for the second reading. Guess what happened?
Okay.
I asked you a question. Guess what happened? You there?
Yeah. I don't know what happened.
They didn't do it. They didn't do it.
All right.
Okay. So being so busy in Golden Isles all that time from the 15th of October, what did the advisors to the government do in the meantime with the bill?
Again, there's a process.
And we should feel offended by that. I mean, they got rid of Section 11, but there are still issues with it. But if you tell them to do A and they don't do B, C, D, or E, then who's responsible for such a bill when we are affected by A, B, C, D, or E?
You
have to blame the government.
We in the public need to do our job. The bill was given to us on October 15 to read.
I mean, it wasn't given to us. Thank you very much, caller. It was tabled. That don't mean it was given to us.
Add the table in. 1 minute. Oh, give me 2 seconds. Add the table in. as part of what the process is, all media outlets, because remember it's a part of the BGCSE, BJC process. Hold on, give me a couple seconds.
Yeah. All
media outlets is given a copy.
Yeah, but that's not us. That's not us, the public. That's a different thing.
With that, the public is given a copy, the access to the copy. It's put it on the website.
Yeah, okay, pause.
Now we might not go and get it.
No, that ain't it. But
Right.
we may not go and get it. The government is woefully derelict. They're woefully derelict in their obligation of disseminating information. It's no. It's not just that the information must be disseminated. It's that the people must know.
I understand. You are critiquing that more should be done. I'm not disputing that. I'm not saying more should be done. Now, I am saying that it was done.
No, they haven't met the bottom threshold. Because I hear what you're saying. They're doing stuff. No,
okay.
They're doing stuff, but even the stuff that they're doing doesn't meet the minimum threshold of their obligation.
I'm just saying I'm not disputing that. That's what I'm saying. I'm not disputing that. But I'm saying that let me ask a question to you. Did they table it, and after the table, did the media have access to it, and did the public have access to it? You might critique that we need more access, and I go with that.
No, there's no such thing as more access. That's not you missing the point. They have a obligation not just to disseminate, but to ensure that people can access it.
I understand it. But we've been doing this for the past 40 odd years the same way, and now I believe that we need a push to make it improve. But the idea to say that the government didn't do it is still what I say is erroneous.
It's like public disclosures. Mm-hmm. It's just like that.
Yeah, it's like saying that.
No, it's just like that. It ain't just like saying anything else. It's just like that.
It's like saying
it's like
that
public disclosures.
It's like saying
and then you have members of the political class laughing. Hold on. Then you have members.
That's a different show.
No, it's not a different show. We're talking about it right now. Then you have members of the political class key and hold on.
Yeah.
Key and the people who are agitating and demanding attention to public disclosures and saying things like, if y'all actually knew what was going on, then you would know that the piece of paper, that the law is not worth the paper it's written on. The same political class that has sat in the halls of power, right, when they had the opportunity to change the law. This is like public disclosures. It's not enough or sufficient to say they doing something.
And I agree.
The something that they doing is not meeting the minimum threshold.
And this is where we come in as the public, and then challenge and say, for the next time, now, let's do these things better.
So let's get into the bill. Mm-hmm. Caller, I'm going to take this call and then we're going to get into the bill. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Erin.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm fine. Good morning, C.A. Nui.
Blessings to you.
Master Don, I'm going to say, let me see if I can make my 5 cents now.
Yes, sir.
This is a great show as usual. Right? Right, I'm all right, but I like eye opener. They are the future. Erin, let me make my 5. Mm-hmm. Nothing working right in this country for the Bahamians. The Americans happy, the Canadians, the Filipinos, the Haitians, everybody happy. They ain't complaining. You ride from East straight down the South Beach. Our people begging on both sides. Who ain't begging, getting drunk and falling down, what kind of nonsense. Mm-hmm. Bahamian people can't get no job. Because some other people, when they get contracts, they hire their people. But I can educate my people, Bahamian people, Erin, the year almost gone. You see, for years I was on this thing saying the Closure Act. They know exactly what they're doing. Mm-hmm. See, I was for them world news a long time. I was there on BBC, the real thing, not the biased MSNBC, CNN, the fake news station. Here it is, the president of France, he got 5 years in jail 3 months ago,
They just arrested a boy in Jamaica because on suspicion that he didn't fill out his disclosure form properly.
That's what I'm talking about. See, thank God we passed it. But let me tell you something with the prime minister, the leader of oppositions, and all the former prime ministers who were there. We can repeal the land, hold the land back. All the land and keys all that we taken back our things. The Bahamas is a rich country. And I don't want your people believe that passes and me to sit down. But Linda Wilson and Kim Ferguson, I love you all, we go together. Talking don't get nothing done in this country. Ask the senior unionist, Ms. Obi Ferguson. Egg all over his face. Promises are come with a fool. Politicians lie, beliefs lie, pastors lie. All this wrong happening in this country. I hear none from the pastors. I hear none from them liberal groups. Nothing. I on the ground every day. People baking, people hungry. People can't get nothing to eat. People can't get house to live in. That big building there on Market Street, Erin, that's a government buy that long time now. Go 5-story. Who want the people on the second floor? Who want? Stop giving me away from this right now. Citizenship. Stop these things. Stop giving me anybody who sign on passport and driver license for you all going to jail 10, 20 years. Be taking a house and locking all up. You all know what you're doing is wrong. You are civil servants. You all are civil servants. That's why I love Mother Pratt. Mother Pratt says we are the servants. The best co-chair of whoever they were with Senator Pratt and Ms. Arjun and Island. At least they call meeting with the contractors so we could get them input. Mm-hmm. I never had a job from whoever you and send government chairs and reach you with. Do airline and and I've been at the pay for my staff. Is that right, Erin?
No.
That's not fair. I've been discriminated in my own country. And I would be happy. My children would be happy. My grandchildren, my brothers and nieces would be happy. But let me tell you something, your politicians. By half your children even get paid. And all those parliamentarians who get 3 salary and military pension, but I can have the change. I take my call, Erin.
You're welcome.
It was a good commentary. I appreciate what he's saying, and I appreciate the frustration. Some things here just don't work. Some people say the majority of things here just don't work. But my point is there are laws, there are systems what can work or is working, but the people who manage these things are just not taking advantage of it.
All right, let's take this next caller, but we got to delve into the bill. Good morning, caller.
Yes, good morning, Erin. Good morning, C.
Good morning.
You know, we are so good at passing laws. You know, we got so many laws,
Mm-hmm.
but we're like the question said this morning. But we are really poor on enforcement. You know, this bill, right? In the news, I think they said that they recently apprehended 8 individuals, right? Are those individuals, besides the captain, are they victims or co-conspirators in this smuggling activity?
Well, at this present time, there aren't any laws about smuggling. There would be people who enter the country illegally, and they will be charged for that.
There's not There's not a specific. One second, caller. 1 second. There's not a standalone specific law that addresses smuggling at this time. The AG's office and the agencies responsible, DPP AG's office, they pull from various laws, the penal code and various laws. I think this was an attempt to create a single document, right?
Right.
But when you read in the document, when it says things like without prejudice to the applicability of any other law establishing a criminal offense, right? Hold on. What that means is that
I understand all of that.
No, but let me just say it out loud because it's not just you I'm talking to. If you don't, just for a second, right? That when it says without prejudice to the applicability of any other law or offense, right? I think, because I'm not a lawyer, what that means is, listen, this says this here, but that doesn't mean that the state can't rely on a provision that exists in another law to prosecute this. So the person may not be prosecuted under this law, but there are provisions under another existing law. And so this is saying that processing them through this law will not prevent future processing them through another law. So it means that would not prevent them being charged with smuggling, right? With being a part of a smuggling thing. It's for the purpose of this law, they will be treated as a victim. And the purpose is to be able to prosecute the people who are identified as smugglers and traffickers, right? Or as smugglers and engaged in the act of smuggling and trafficking.
So, under what you're saying that under this new law, they would be considered as a victim.
For this instant.
For the purpose of it's important. The language is so important, Uncle. I can tell you the language is so important. For the purpose of prosecuting the smuggler, right? You have to finish the sentence.
Yes.
You have to finish the sentence. They are being treated as a victim under this law for the purpose of prosecuting the people identified as the smugglers. That does not prevent them or exempt them from prosecution under other existing provisions or under new provisions that may be created and enacted as well.
So why not? I mean, if it can be determined that to me, victim means that, like, you don't have any, you didn't have no choice in the matter.
And right? No agency.
I know the purpose of trying to get to the whoever is responsible for the captain or whatever it is. But to me, to say that these people are victims when they knowingly.
Okay, caller, before you go, let me ask you a question because we have a whole line full up want to participate. I can create a scenario and you tell me what to do. We have a smuggler. We're going to charge the smuggler. We need testimony from the person who's being smuggled, right, to go against the smuggler. The person who's going to testify paid the smuggler to bring them into the country, but we still need that testimony, right? Now we the court. We are presenting the evidence. We are asking the person who's being smuggled to testify against the person. The person who's being smuggled either could be in the country or they could be deported. Our laws call for them to be deported and leave. But if they leave, they cannot testify because we deported them already. One or two people the government is trying to select to say, you see y'all three, the whole boat had 1,000 people. We can pick 3 of y'all out of this 1,000 who came on this boat. We want y'all to testify to say y'all was smuggled into this country.
Well, we've found people who say they can identify the smuggler out of the 1,000 people found on the boat. And so of the 50 people who say they know who the smuggler is, they could identify them, they know what city they come from. You select, you interview them, and you make an assessment of who will present best as victims, and then you say, hey, y'all remain for the purpose of testifying to convict, in an attempt to convict the culprit.
So now Erin explained better. Now you have those 3. I give a number of 3. They have to be in the country for like 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. You need to give them some type of status in the country in the meantime. You can't have them here illegally. So you give them temporary status. This is what the law says. You get temporary status. And if they're here, as we give them temporary status, you either give them temporary status to work, or you have to be supplying them with food and income and whatever it is in the meantime until they testify for the smuggler. What do we do?
And so, thank you very much, caller. My thing is, if I'm speaking to the Minister of National Security, the Attorney General's office, the office of the OPM, right? These are the questions that I'm going to ask, right? How will they support themselves? Will the state support them? See, if I'm here, although I was involved in smuggling activity, but I'm here now for the purpose of testifying against the people identified as the smugglers, can I be detained in the same way that migrants who are to be deported are being detained under the same conditions?
Well, we have laws, right? After you are charged, because now you charge people for entering the country legally. Mm-hmm. You go to jail and then you deport it. You can't have them living languishly without either putting them in jail or deporting them. You can't say I got people in the detention center forever until the testimony comes.
If they're witnesses, then they need protection.
If they're witnesses, they need
protection. Right, because would we then not even speculate, but surmise is that they've been identified as victims, whether they volunteered to be smuggled and the dynamics changed in transport. Like I thought I was being smuggled to this place where I have a job lined up, but they actually took me to another place where they intend to enslave me, right? Or you being smuggled and you detained on the high seas or at the border control. You can't.
But the designation of victim has, let's go to the callers. The designation of victim has rights, right? And with that rights, the government or the law enforcers have obligations to the particular
caller, I come to you right now, caller. See, that's it right there. The victim has rights, and people are concerned about the use of the word victim because the victim has rights.
Yes.
Bang. Suspects have rights too. Suspects have rights too. People who are detained as suspects in a conspiracy and may be called upon to testify against somebody else who's a part of that conspiracy, they have rights too. I think the problem is with this idea that if you label them a victim, then they have rights. The problem with that thinking is if you're interrogating this bill is the criminals have rights too. The people you suspect of being criminals have rights. And that's where we get into problems. Hold on. That's where we get into this big money problem, right? Because we forget that people who are suspects and people who are convicted also have rights. But we believe we could ignore those rights. That's when all these cases, when people sue, and then remember the woman say, who that man is, that lawyer, Fred Smith. That's how, when Fred Smith steps in, when y'all forget that even suspects and criminals and the convicted have rights. And then we engage in this process of breaching their rights, and then the general public has to pay, right, for those breaches. Let's go to the phone line.
Hey, sorry, Erin. CA was giving me some kind of analogy, but CA, if me, you, and Erin conspire to rob the bank or do something illegal, right? And you were the mastermind, and me and Erin turn crown, what do they call it? Crown witness or whatever it is. Are we victims?
You get benefits though for turning crown. So you testifying against me, and then the crown say, because you're going to use the testimony, I'm going to give you this.
See, okay, Uncle, that's the next thing I want to say. We good? Because I got 3 more callers on the board. All right. We understand the plea deal. I have not seen anybody go to Rawson Square and beat Parliament down because, like the case where the young man who raped the elderly woman, it included anal and vaginal rape. He ended up with a plea deal, right? Serving the terms concurrently as opposed to consecutively. The highest sentence he got was 9 years. If he served them consecutively, it would amount to almost 23 years he would get, right? It was a plea deal. He ends up serving 9 years, taken down from about 23 years. Now, I ain't seen nobody with a problem about the plea deal when it comes to sexual violence and sexual violence against the vulnerable, right? Like, we understand the plea deal there. We understand how, well, it aids the prosecution. It makes it easier to get convictions. Is it possible that this is the same thing here? I'm not saying this is the same thing. Is it like in our thinking? Let's go to the next caller. Good morning, caller.
Yes, good morning, Ms. Greene. Good morning, Mr. Newey.
Good morning.
Yeah, firstly, this bill does nothing to impede migration. Erin, that case with the guy who...
The bill isn't for that, though.
His Grammy, I think he told me that the guy told his Grammy that he was watching her. But I want to get on with this smuggler's bill, right? There are scenarios, we might as well afford it, the same concepts of drug dealers. They bunch them on the boat, they coming in. So why we can't conceive that somebody force him at gunpoint and
they do that? Hold on, 52, but point 52. That's the point we're just making, right?
Yeah,
with the plea deal system, right? With the plea deal system, people will have different treatment under the law because they are participate. There's a particular word when you're working with the police.
You're working with the police.
Bang. When you're working with the authorities.
Yeah, I know, but Erin, the thing is, for me, the captain is not easy. It's not hard to identify. The same way they see a drug boat coming in,
with 52,
and they see the guy behind the steering wheel.
52. 52. But not necessarily only the captain we're trying to get. You are limited to the captain.
I know.
Okay, then remove the word captain.
I really want to get this
hold on.
Before I go.
Remove the word captain. We're talking back and forth. You don't go no place. We remove the word captain, and we're talking about the smugglers, people who are orchestrating immigrants to come into the country. We're trying to get those people. We charge them.
Like it's a rocket. Then.
Yes, we're targeting that person.
Yeah, but it requires a bunch of variables and a network of investigation. But one of the things for me is we saw during the pandemic where there was a digital panopticon or surveillance in which the truckers, people who send them money, their accounts were frozen. And so what happens now is we need to find who's wiring these money, these people up. It's all kind of ways to deal with it. That's one of the greatest impediments for me. Because
I say the
why
same,
would the government, with all them brains they're supposed to have up there, why would they leave that out?
I got you 52.
I had to make that shout out.
Listen,
they joking, man.
I got more callers. I said the same thing. Why aren't you targeting the people at the head of the conspiracy to import tons? See, not they importing 2 keys. They ain't nobody catch 2 square grouper on the side of the beach. We're talking about the people who orchestrate the importation and the transportation of tons, billions of dollars worth of narcotics. Why they not targeting them in the global north? Now listen, callers, I see you on the line, right? Let's go to this last caller. I got to touch one more thing before we go, but I'm sure Mr. Nuri can pick up this subject on the next side. I don't know if he want to talk about what I want to talk about before I end the show, though. Good morning, caller. Good morning, caller. You still there? Good morning, caller.
Good morning, guys. How are you this morning?
Good, thank you.
Oh, let's look at the scenario here in Greene and Nuri. All right. What if I'm a part of the smuggling operation as far as being smuggled, paid to be smuggled, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the authorities don't have sufficient evidence to bring a conviction to the smugglers, nor to the whole operation.
Uh-huh.
But me, as one of the components of the smuggling operation, as far as paying to be smuggled, decide to give them some vital information that will assist them in bringing a conviction. Don't you think that person deserves to have some leniency?
I know, but leniency.
Pardon
But
me?
I'm not sure with the term
So
leniency.
if you can't get a conviction, then what happens?
But that's what I was saying. Is
Right.
that not the same thing as the plea
Yes,
deal?
it is. It is definitely the same thing. All right, don't you see in some armed robberies, they use one of the co-defendants to be the prosecuting witness?
Mm-hmm.
To get a conviction because they don't have sufficient evidence. Otherwise, than the person that was involved with the other persons who were part of the robbery.
Mm-hmm.
So it's no different. It's actually the same thing. So having the clause 11 removed, it put an impediment on the whole system of what the government is intending to try to do. They're trying to curve the smuggling operations by using one of the persons who are being smuggled to use one of them as witness against the whole operation. Now, mind you, that person that been smuggled not necessarily had been paid to be smuggled. You know. All right, that's what I'm saying.
I got you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Here we go. Good morning, caller. Good morning, caller. Good morning, caller. I'm sorry, we miss you. Let me read through these texts quickly. Mr. Mitchell, know full well ain't no U.S. policy coming to allow free passage to Bahamians. You see the ringer. They putting students through, and we supposed to believe Pookie under the juju tree could get a free pass. Morning, you guys are talking nonsense. I hope people are not listening to you. The government are trying to legitimize the intentions of gathering Haitian votes. Nothing more, nothing less. You guys are lost. But man, don't be sending profanity on this text because I almost read it out loud. And I give your number for sending it. Huh? See, I see, y'all don't want snitch. Make me guys on the radio. I call in your name. Okay. Oh boy. Targeting the money is very important. Absolutely. So you're telling me we have to make it possible that every person smuggled on said boat deserves, by way of this bill, an opportunity to claim asylum?
We're electing people, you know.
Hold on, nobody even said an opportunity to claim asylum. They have an opportunity to claim asylum anyway, and that's the point I was trying to make. Y'all missing the point. There are provisions that exist already, whether in law or in international treaty, that provides them an opportunity to claim asylum. This bill doesn't provide anything in that instance that didn't exist before. Here's the thing that got me about the bill. You know what a fine is?
Yeah.
The fine is the cost to engage in an activity for people who could afford it. Right? The fancy guy, New York, Manhattan, took a girl on a date, parked, leave a car right in front of the restaurant. She said, no. You can get towed. He's, that's what they's doing. I just pay the fee. It's just what I pay to park. I don't worry about it. You broke. Yeah. This is what I'm concerned about. Why are there fines associated with these offenses? If it's so important, right? If this is such a dastardly act, why are there fines associated? And if we recognize that these are conspiracies, right? They require lots of money to engage. Are we just making it harder for poor people to engage in this activity?
We will continue this conversation.
But you know what I want to talk about?
Go ahead.
I want to talk about the Senate and the song They Can't Find Jerry Roca in Town.
Who are you going to find in the Senate?
Elders, seniors that have institutional and experiential knowledge, because that's the purpose of the Senate. right? The purpose of the Senate is for elder statesmen to provide overview. You know, Rasta say, you overstand.
It's not a stepping stone to get in a member of parliament?
You know, that it's been added as the Union to Parliament pipeline. Now, there's the Senate to the lower house pipeline, when in fact, the lower house is supposed to be a pipeline to the Senate. The Senate is for senior people, for statesmen, right? So that when... Yuri, I hope you let me talk about this on the next hour. This has been On the Clock with Ann Bonnie Greene. We're going to continue the mash down in the next hour. My apologies, producer. I'm feeling very piratey today. Come in there and take over that board. You guys stay tuned, though. Ain't no revolution in here right now. C.A. Nuri, Guardian Radio AM is up next.
This holiday season, give yourself the gift of a fresh start with a personal loan at Fidelity. You could win refreshing prizes like a luxurious spa day, John Boat gift certificates, a cruise for two, and more. Make that move to a fresh start today. Call 356-7764. Promotion ends December 19th.
Fidelity, we're good for you. Junkanoo is my kind of vibe.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.